Welcome to Warrior Class.
Where the teachers whoop ass.
And you will too if you pass. Sorry about that. Some serious technical difficulties, but I think we have worked. Can you hear us?
Greetings.
Greetings. Hello.
Oh, Shaker Baby said yes.
Oh, good. Hey, okay, all right.
Wonderful.
Oh, finally, okay.
Peace, y'all. Welcome to Warrior Class.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. This is episode 38 because we're gonna have to keep this one remembered for the books. So all kinds of stuff. We just had to switch computers and stuff like that. From a brand new computer to another brand new computer. Maybe somebody doesn't want us talking about what we're going to talk about today. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So this episode is protecting yourself against those who protect and serve. All right. And what sparked this is, of course, most of you have already seen now the video of the little boy. I think he's 10 years old. 5 cops on the little brother, forcing him to the car. And there's some witnesses, what are you taking them for? They're going off about why they're taking the little brother. And the cops say because they were shoplifting at a store. Okay. They're taking one. So I guess they're going to eventually start rounding up the rest of them. But so a child, 10 years old, shoplifts at a store, probably stealing candy or whatever. Some chips, right. Some snacks. They deserve to be manhandled by grown men. It takes 5 police officers.
Of course.
To put the little brother in the car. And so I watched it, discussed it. Okay. And I said, what we need to do an episode protecting ourselves from those who protect and serve. Now, and it's long overdue. Years ago, the Urban Survival and Preparedness Institute, we did a youth conference, and part of that conference was how to deal with the police. And, we handled it. Let me preface it by saying the way we were teaching people to deal with the police is an intelligent way. But there were some who were like, hey, so we're supposed to just be defeated by the police and, let them get away with what they're getting away with and all of that. Hell no. But a lot of what we expect, because one of the mistakes we make is getting so emotional. I told my students years ago, I said, we're a romantic folk. People don't know what? We're a romantic folk. That we have these superhero ideas of how we're supposed to act, what we're supposed to do. And like I tell my wife all the time, and I got this from The Wire. You want it one way, but it's the other way. There's a way you want it, but there's reality. And there's a way you gotta move. Now, one way, when I say romantic, we believe that police are supposed to be just and good to us, and that they capture the bad guys and all that. First of all, that was never to capture the bad guys, was never the police job.
You're the bad guys. Right,
to bring down serial killers and all of that. The police are enforcers of the state. So it depends on how you define bad guy. If a bad guy is somebody that disagrees with, speaks against the state, then okay, that's a bad guy. But the police's job was never to catch thieves and bank robbers and serial killers. It was to catch our black asses when we escaped from our enslavement. That's how it began, because we were going against the wishes of the state.
Yeah, bro.
So we get romantic and think that these folks are supposed to be our heroes, our protectors.
It's the savior complex that's ingrained in
exactly. Us. And they fail us every time, because that's not their job. Right. You're expecting a doctor to be a carpenter. It's not. And if they try to be a carpenter and they're a doctor, your house gonna collapse. Right. Well, the same thing. So number one, go in with the proper expectations. Know who you're dealing with. Okay. These people are not your friends. They don't really give a damn about what you're talking about unless you are the state. You expect certain things from them that you're not going to get. You want it one way, it's the other way. Okay. Let's start from that first. And then we'll clarify that and then go into other things. But so Nikki, did you want to start?
Let's see. Well, first and foremost, the things that I was focusing on were making sure that you don't give the police an excuse to, let's say, have a legitimate reason to interact with you. So things like, if you are using a car, or you own a car, make sure that you're maintaining it inside and out. That means making sure that you're doing maintenance on the car so that you're not just breaking down at the side of the road and leaving yourself open for that interactions in those ways. That means maintaining the lights and different things on the outside of your car. I mean, we know that they can and will lie, and will say that they have an excuse that your tail light is out or something like that. But if you can readily prove that it's not out, then that may give you some protection. So make sure that you're maintaining, your car, your vehicle. In addition to maintaining the outside of it and the mechanical part of it, you also want to make sure that you keep the inside of it clean. And I'm talking to myself here, to be honest. But that a lot of the things that a lot of the reason that they may legitimately, again, be able to say they want to search your car is because maybe something was in plain sight. But if your car is completely clean and there's nothing in there to say that, oh, it might double for something else, or they might think that they see something else, then again, that might provide you some protection. So make sure that you're maintaining your vehicle.
When you said about they will lie to you, that's actually legal too. The police can legally lie to you. So don't assume they're being truthful to you, okay? They can legally lie. So don't get caught don't get tricked up in little things they say, or, you don't let us search your car. You have to call in other squads or dogs, and we find something, you're really going down, and all this kind of stuff. You don't have to consent to a search, but
we know that niceness and politeness is a strategy. So you use that strategy too. Make sure that you're being calm and nice and polite and all of that, but at the same time, make sure that you are asserting yourself in any type of interaction with them.
Right. Now, calm and cool is key. Okay. One, don't be in the opposite space with the cell phone and all that. You're dealing with a psychopath. A lot of these cats, now I'm not saying all are psychopaths, but a great number, and sociopaths.
Yeah, well.
A lot of them were bullied by folks, and they want to show their power now. So that's why they become the police. Because you got to say, okay, why does a person become police?
Right.
Several are ex-military, and they may have PTSD.
Right. Might be the only job they can easily get because of their training.
Right, exactly. Okay, so just be careful out here. Now, the military, you have people who ex-special forces, ex-snipers, ex-underwater demolition team. Their job was to kill. More so than the whole underlying mission of the military is to kill. But when you're talking about these special ops groups, they're trained to kill well, psychologically and physically. Okay, how to kill. So and they aren't bothered by it.
Mm.
They've learned to justify it so they don't lose their minds or cower out and don't fulfill the act.
Right.
So you have people like that when they leave the military, they become police. So, God forbid you get emotional and you're putting the phone in their face. I'm recording this. Okay, well, you're going to catch a bad one with that. Okay. So, like you said, be calm and cool. Be calm. And don't confuse calm with weak now. But be calm.
Right.
You can be strong, but be calm and cool.
Milk toast and
right, because you got to be strong. If you really do what you're supposed to do, if you I don't consent to searches. You can't punk out to say that. Right. A lot of people are scared to say that. Exercise your right to remain silent. You have the right to remain silent, and I'll deal with there are 3 laws that apply for this entire country. 3 federal laws that you can follow that apply to how you deal with police. Now, will they follow it? Not necessarily, but this will help you if you survive to deal with them in court and in civil court after. Okay. Exercise your right to remain silent. If they ask, can they search you? Say, I don't consent to searches, but I'm not going to stop you. Or they want to search your car. I don't consent to searches, but I'm not going to get in your way. So you let them know I'm not resisting. Right. But I do not consent to you searching, because they'll say, what's in your pocket? I don't consent to searches, officer. Or they'll tell you, empty your pockets. I don't consent to searches. Right. You don't have to legally empty your pockets for goddamn police. That is a search, and you don't have to put your stuff.
Don't volunteer. Here.
I was stopped by the police once as a teenager. We were rapping on the train. The conductor of the train pumps us up. Yeah, keep rapping, man. That's dope. Keep rapping. I love it. Whole while he called the police on us. Uncle Tom ass nigga hard ER. Call the police. We get off. We getting followed. Well, we're getting followed and led. We're getting, this is called lead surveillance. The person's in front of you, but they're forcing the way you move. So the dude's moving all slow. I'm like, oh, Lord. My boy whispered to me, man, this white man slow as hell, right? Bunch of white folks moving slow up the stairs. I mean, weirdly slow. And I said, this doesn't feel right. And my boy said, man, come on, man. Move out the way. Man, white folks be moving slow as hell. And as soon as he said the dude, boom, hit him. So I'm going up to hit the dude. I'm thinking at first, this is a regular dude.
Because he hasn't identified him.
Right, he didn't. I never did. And then crackers from everywhere came. So one slammed me against the wall. Boom, I hit him. Boom, they hit me. I'm like, come on, let's go. They still haven't identified themselves. We're all knuckling up, fighting the police and shit. Fighting white folks who we thought were just some violent white folks. Right. I figured this some kind of setup by white supremacists. They say nothing. Then finally, mud's coming from everywhere, like 30 people. I'm like, oh shit, what is this? A Klan rally? What is this? And then I see this Hispanic woman who's one of them, black, well, the blackish Hispanics. Mm-hmm. And I say, oh, wait a minute, this ain't the Klan. Mm-hmm. I said, God, look at my boy. I said, these motherfucking police. And the dude, that's when the dude said, you goddamn right. Mm-hmm. And the Hispanic woman walks over and snatches my phone out my hand. That's illegal. Illegal search and seizure is illegal. I get into the thing. She just took my shit. I never got my cell phone back. you know, in them days, cell phone looked like a damn brick, right? She took my cell phone from me, right? I thought I was balling. I had the cell phone. She's assuming drug dealer, and then they took all our pagers. Not one of us dealt with drugs. All of us were in a rap group together. We played role playing games together on the weekends. We wasn't no dudes out there. Although I had the gangbangers playing, and they were dealing drugs. But I had the gangbangers playing role playing games too. But we weren't no dudes that were out. We had gone downtown. A lot of my friends never left the neighborhood. I convinced them, so I felt responsible to leave the neighborhood so we could go to the game room downtown and play video games. And so I convinced them, like, yeah, let's go. So we're excited. So it was about 10 of us. Terrible day. I was 18. My boy Anthony was 19. Everybody else was like 16, 17. So they were minors. They had their parents pick them up. Me and Anthony went to jail, but we were able to get ourselves out on our own recognizance. It's called an I-bond in Chicago. Okay. Then we go to court. My mama with both of us, with me and Anthony, right? And she's coaching us on what to say, how to conduct ourselves in there. And they know it was BS. None of the cops showed up. The judge says to me, so you were rapping on the train? I said, the conductor told us to. He said, so are you good? I said, I guess so. He said, well, go ahead and hit a rap for us. I said, no, I will not do a rap for you. No. He said, why not? I said, because I'm not a monkey. I don't dance when master say dance like that. And I thought my mother would be like, oh, Lord. I looked over my mother shake, nodding her head like, goddamn right. And so he said, all right, case dismissed. He doesn't want to rap. And we went home, right?
Where's the illegal activity?
There was none. They didn't even have when he never stated to us, you're arrested for this.
Wow.
I kept asking, well, what are we arrested for? They wouldn't tell us. Just shut up. Keep on asking, whoop your ass. So, this is a lawless place. So when I'm talking to you, I'm not talking to you like our brothers that wear the red fezzes about all this law. I do not believe in the criminal justice system. And it is a criminal justice system.
Right, emphasis on the criminal.
Right. But you're dealing with psychopaths or people that hate our guts or, got all kinds of issues, whatever the hell it is. So don't argue law with them. They don't give a damn what you're talking about. Most of us are not lawyers, so they really are pissed when you're trying to act lawyer, what they call them, an armchair lawyer. That pisses them off. You say, I don't care if I piss them off. You do, because you don't want to get into a physical squabble with the police.
Right, and right at that moment, you piss them off that you can turn not going to jail into going to jail.
Right. You want to go home.
Right.
Okay.
That's the point of coming out of the interaction is going home.
Now, any questions they have outside of your name, they ask your name, give them your name. Now, if you have warrants and stuff, I'm not saying what to do. But you got common sense.
Right.
Give them a name now. Give them a name. They ask your name. Give it to them. Anything outside of that, I need to talk to my attorney.
Right.
I need to talk to my attorney.
Or you can simply say, I don't want to answer any questions.
Yeah, I don't answer questions.
Right.
I don't answer questions. My attorney speaks on my behalf. I don't answer questions, officer. Sir, officer. You know what I mean? Don't touch them. Like I said, You want it one way, it's another way. If I'm mad with you and you touch me, I remember I was having a disagreement with another student, and my student almost soon he came over, touched me, and I calmed down. I was yelling at my children. We were watching, for lack of a better word, this brother who lives with this sister. She had to go out of town. She has a home where she takes care of brothers who are mentally delayed, they call it. Right. And he was cleaning up our house. Like, hey, don't do this. The house needs to be swept. Okay, well, so he's cleaning it up. And the children are acting a fool. I'm like, hey, sit down. He's cleaning the house up. Sit down. Respect this man, you know. And I said, sit your butt down. And he walks over, touched me on the shoulder. You all right? I said, yeah. He said, okay, well, you know, you don't have to raise your voice. They heard you. They heard you. If they decide, no, he's mentally delayed. I was the one acting up. And really, they were the ones acting up.
Right.
He says, if they don't want to do what's being said, they're in the wrong. They know they're in the wrong. And they shouldn't be that way. But even if you yell at them and they stop, they still want to be in the wrong. And I don't 100% agree with that, but he calmed me down. Right. You're not going to calm down the police if you put your hands on them. You put your hands thinking that's going to work. Officer, you know, it's all right.
It's the other
they'll say assault.
Right.
You want it one way, it's the other way. Like the brother said, you know, he's from New Orleans. He had come to Baltimore. You want it one way, it's the other way. Right? You put your hand on them, they can say you assaulted them. And next you're on the ground getting stomped out, or you're in handcuffs and put in the car and you're charged with assault on a police officer. Don't put your hands on them thinking you're going to calm them down. Hey, buddy, you know, hey. Or you're going to establish dominance. Hey, man, hey, you ain't got to do all that to the little fella. You ain't got to do that to me or to that lady. Don't do it. Don't do it. Only put your hands on anybody, unless you really know them, you're calming them down. But only put your hands on somebody that's aggressive with you if you're putting your hands on somebody that's aggressive with you. Otherwise, no need to touch them. Okay? Be smart in that. Don't volunteer information and do not admit to guilt. Don't do it. Don't volunteer information. Don't admit to guilt. Okay? Because they'll tell you, man, look, we know it's dope in your car. We know it's weed in your car. You don't weed, not that bad of a thing. You go ahead and just admit to us we got the weed. Let us go ahead and search the car, man. But we may even overlook that. Or you may just take it, put it up with my boy right there. You know, he smoke a little bit. Just, you know, we're not going. If you have weed in your car, even if you're in a state where it's legal, do not admit to that. Don't admit to nothing. I don't submit to searches. I understand, I understand you're just doing your job. I don't submit to searches. Mm-hmm. And then if they aren't, at any point you want to disengage, this a lot of times won't work, but you can stand on this in court later. When I say court later, there is a civil court. Right. There's criminal court, there's civil court where, people get sued sometimes. I'm not saying who to sue, I'm just saying, So, officer, am I under arrest? No, you're not under arrest. I'm trying to talk to you. Okay, well, have a good day. Yeah. Can I leave?
Am I free to leave?
Am I free to leave? I'm not under arrest. We're just talking to you, man. Okay, that's what I'm trying to.
I don't want to continue talking.
Right. I really have nothing else to say. Am I free to leave? I got to go to this meeting. Sometimes, and I've done that before, and they've been go ahead on then. Now, sometimes I've been crazy with it. I told a cop one time, he's like, all y'all gonna go to jail. He had about 50 of us on the wall. We fighting these other cats. There's about 20 of us, 30 of them. We had whooped their asses real nice. All you're going to jail, I said, officer, we're not going to jail. Not today. Maybe some other time. You talk to us later. But us here, we're not going to jail today. So I was feeling myself. That could have ended bad. Right. I was feeling myself. And the officer looked, he said, well, they're not going to jail. They come out the wall. The other one stepped off. He said, they're not going to jail today. You're going. And I guess they went. We got the hell on out of there.
I wanted to say too, and Belay mentions this in the chat, that they need your admission of guilt when you were talking about don't
volunteer
even if there is something in your car, there could be some circumstances that you might be able to explain if you don't expressly tell them, yes, there is weed in the inner console. When you say something like that, you're admitting a guilt of possession.
Right.
But there can be a circumstance where, and of course you don't consent to a search, but if you've had people in your car, I mean, I've had that happen to me where someone left something in my car. It's been a very long time, I'll say that, but where someone left something in my car that I wasn't aware of. I didn't get pulled over and have the car searched. I just so happened to find the thing in the car later. But if you say that you know where something is, then you're admitting to possession of it. Whereas they still have to connect you to possession of said whatever it is if you don't tell them where it is in the car. So you never want to, again, feed into that they're trained to do that nice guy persona.
Right.
They're trained to be that, they're your friend right now in this particular instance. But you don't ever want to feed into that. You want to let silence be your default.
Now I'm glad that I was just about to say something about this. I'm glad when he said, even if they put it in your face, say, I'm sorry. Never tell the police you're sorry. That's an admission of guilt too. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. Now that way, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. Just say, I don't know what you're talking about, because your shit can be cut down to a soundbite of saying, I'm sorry. They got you now.
And that's another tactic that they use.
Right. And they'll say, man, look, just apologize for so-and-so. Look, if you broke into that house, man, look, wasn't nothing much taken. She said it was just $50. That's not even a felony. Look, man, just apologize to the lady. If you got the $50, give it back. And we're good. We got better shit to do. You say, well, okay.
Right.
I apologize to her. It's the moment you say I'm sorry, they're gonna put your ass in cuffs.
That's an admission of guilt, and that's one of their strategies. They might even have someone to call you and say, it might be someone who you're close to. It might be someone who's a family member of whatever, a person of, whatever the situation is. Mm-hmm. And they might say, well, we won't go to the police, but we need you to apologize. We need you to admit to what you've done. Right then, you should be thinking, okay, this person is not who I'm thinking it is. This is not just someone who I'm familiar with calling me. This person is now an agent. So don't ever admit to anything.
And when I talked about that, I'm sorry, I don't know. Remember, they have cameras in their cars that film you. Right? In the grill. It's filming you. Well, all film can be edited. Okay? Film or any recording, it can be edited. So they can cut that down to you saying you're sorry, and they say you admitted to doing so-and-so. And you're saying you're sorry, you shouldn't have done it, right? So try not to let I'm sorry or I apologize out your mouth when you're talking to the police.
You can say, excuse me.
You're right, excuse me, or just state the thing, right? But don't admit to guilt. Don't tell them you're not sorry. You're sorry you encountered their ass.
Right, definitely.
But don't even say that. I'm sorry, y'all. I even ran into y'all. Because all they need is that I'm sorry. They can cut that and use that. So don't let them get that. Don't be driven by ego. You see all the time people arguing with the police. I'm gonna tell you what that is. They arguing hard. Mother effer, son, so. That's fear. And the police know it because they're trained. In particular, if they were trained in the military, they know it. If you're hyper emotional when dealing with a person that's aggressive, it's a sign of fear. You ever have a person you watch a dude coming at a sister, but it's not in the privacy of their home, but outside. He may have been motherfucker, but she don't really want to fight that dude. Right. She's scared. She want other people to hear it, and she also want him to back off. Maybe everybody hears it and he backs off.
Someone intervenes.
Right, or someone will intervene. It's a sign of fear, and these people know it. So you're not showing that you're big and bad by doing that. You're not proving anything by doing that. Stay calm with them. Also, if you had to do something to defend yourself, and we hope you never have to defend yourself in any situation, but if you have to, you are more powerful and more efficient while you're calm. Okay?
Yeah, and two things I have to say about that. Excuse me. In martial arts, we have a thing called telegraphing, where you can telegraph a punch by looking in a certain direction. You're using your emotions to telegraph when you're in that particular instance. Like Baba said, if you have to defend yourself, you've already put them on guard by using your ego and your emotions to be loud. You don't want to do that. You want to, if there's a situation where you end up having to defend yourself, you want to make sure that you're calm, make sure that you're as silent as possible, and make sure that you're watching for the moment if you do end up having to defend yourself. Also, excuse me, there's about the fear. Your nerves can also make you run off at the mouth. So that's another reason why you want to train yourself to let silence be your default in these situations, because you're running off at the mouth is the same as you volunteering information. Right. You're giving all this extra information. They don't need to know where you're going. They don't need to know all of those different things. They just need the minimal information possible. So let silence be your default.
And try to do that in any aggressive encounter. As a matter of fact, I've told so many people, we get into it, and I've never started a fight, by the way, but they want to fight me, and then I'm not letting it go. I said, no. You start this. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see how it plays out. You started it, so I'm curious now. I got to see how this plays out. And they said, well, I'm not taking no ass whooping. Number one, you just told me you think I'm going to beat your ass. So I already am the winner, because mentally you already are convinced I'm going to whoop your ass. So I'm not taking an ass whooping. I always say, well, you don't have to take nothing from me, man. I'm going to give it to you. Okay. So I say that to say this too. Don't take a beat down from the police. Don't let them give you one either. And that's based on how you move and things. And if you say, well, if they start whooping my ass, what am I going to do?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Exactly. Whatever that means to you, don't take an ass whooping, and don't let them give you one. Do that. If it's been successful for you before, straight up do that. If it seems intelligent at the moment, or the most survivable thing at the moment. Right. Malcolm X said to be cordial and intelligent in your discourse and respectful of the law and the people in authority over you.
Right.
But if they put their hands on you, you send them to the morgue. If that's how you're gonna move, if anybody starts beating you down, that's how you move. If hauling ass because you can run faster than you and better than you can fight, that's what you do. Do what it is that allows you to go home in any violent encounter. When you're dealing with the police, this is why we're teaching you to control it. First, you got to control yourself. Then you can control somebody else. Then you control the situation, right? So control yourself first, because you got to control that situation because you want to go home or to wherever it is you're going with everything intact that you left the house with or left wherever you left with. Okay? But don't get murdered out here if at all you can stop it. And for me, I know, I was born to die. I'm going to die one day, right? So I'm not going to die with you just your knee on my neck. Anybody. And I don't care who's listening to this. I'm not going to die with your knee on my neck.
Yeah,
you're going to have to work to take my life, man, because it's your life and it's the only one you got. So be precious about that and be strong about that, but be intelligent how you move where you don't have to defend your life against Johnny across the street or Officer Krumsky when he comes knocking at your door. So, or stopping you when you drive your car. Just know, don't take ass whooping, because ass whooping can end in your demise.
And along the lines of being intelligent how you move, we talked about the maintaining your car inside and out. You also want to make sure that you are obeying the minor traffic laws. A lot of those laws are in place. Stop signs. I mean, we know that they want to give themselves excuses to stop us. But if you're on a residential street, the street that you live on, why are you speeding? There might be children coming out of the house. Like, there's no reason for you to just not obey certain traffic laws. Don't make it your default to speed. Maybe you might have an emergency and you might have to get somewhere fast and you might want to speed in that instance. But don't make it a default that you're just always out here speeding or driving erratically, because that's going to give you give them, again, a legitimate reason for stopping you and interacting with you. They have the cameras on the cars, they have the speedometers. So that's evidence that they can have to say, I stopped this person for this reason. They have cameras on the cars. They can show that you blowing through the stop sign. What are you blowing through stop signs for? There's no reason for you to do that. That's not moving intelligently.
Right.
You want to make sure that in those particular instances that you're obeying the traffic laws, just to give them a reason to stay away from you.
I was another thing. I was working at for a nonprofit organization here in Atlanta. I won't name it, but a woman asked me, a white young woman asked me, what do you think about, because we were having a discussion about the police, how to deal with them. And I was on a panel with police officers.
I wish I was there.
And I did not, the lies they were telling, and I just was very truthful.
They will lie.
And the police were shook up, right? But, and it was funny because sister comes to me, she's a cop, she comes to me after, she says, you really feel that way about the police, that we're agents of the state and so on and so. I said, well, yeah, I mean, that's why you're coming to me right now.
Right.
You're coming to me right now as an agent of the state, but very cleverly, She just, walked away. Like, lady, please. But this white girl asked me, what about police reform? it's training, and the police can't be reformed. There's no such thing. When a thing is founded on our capture and our punishment, reform him into what? There's no such thing as police reform. Reform means okay, they'll be better at what? Better at whooping our ass?
Right. Think about a rapist and your relationship to a rapist.
Right.
You can't reform that relation. There's the foundation of it is something that is completely deplorable. You can't reform that relationship. It has to be done away with.
Can't reform a historically violent agency built by an intrinsically violent state. You can't. To what? The context they're operating off of is violence against you.
Yeah, boom.
So there's no police reform. That's what I said to her: violence against me, against us. She's outside that paradigm. She doesn't understand it. That's why white people will talk about police reform
easily,
because their reality isn't our reality. They want it one way, and for them, it is that way, that other way. It's that way they want. Right. For us, it's the other way. Okay. 3 laws. I said I'd talk about the 3 amendments that deal with to the Constitution, that deal with how to deal with the police. The 4th, 5th, and 6th. So the 4th Amendment, that's the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And I'm what do you call it? Summarizing, paraphrasing all these. I'm not going to go through the whole thing of. They were long-winded when he wrote this guy because they had to be thorough in what they were writing. Because of course, if they're gonna abuse it, they got to make sure they got all the shit they can abuse down. But
they also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I believe, this is my personal belief, that those things are written that way to make it very difficult to read.
Yeah.
So that when you're trying to go through and look and read certain laws and figure out what applies to you, what doesn't, and all of that, it's difficult because it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo unless you are trained to read it.
And even with lawyers, they have a team of mugs who go through all that crap.
Breaking it all.
They ain't gonna read. One dude's not gonna, a woman's not gonna read all that jive. Right. Like, you get tired of it, right? Then the 5th Amendment, that's no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That's your right to remain silent. Okay, no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. So you have a right to remain silent.
Yeah, bro. Okay.
Now also, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That happens to us all the time by the police. So so the strength of that is in you have the right to remain silent.
Right. You being silent. That's what you can control about that.
Right. And then the 6th Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. That means you can ask for a lawyer, or like folks say, lawyer up on him. You know what I mean? So I don't have anything else to say. I have to give you a name. I don't have anything else to say. I have to speak to my attorney, or you can speak to my attorney. Okay. If you don't have an attorney, the public attorney, the public defender sucks. They suck. I had a public defender. I'm arrested on a violent felony. Then they pull out 27 counts of burglary. I'm like, wait, I didn't do that. This fool says, instead of showing proof, or he said, let the record reflect, he says he didn't do it. I said, dude, you better handle that better than that.
Right.
And he's like, well, yeah, he didn't do it. I said, hey, dude, you better. I said, I'll be in here for something else too.
Public pretender, right?
Exactly. And so at that point, even the prosecutor says, should we recess so his attorney can have time to research these charges? The prosecutor, it was a sister who must have been like, well, look like he gonna kill that
right.
defense attorney,
And
so
also,
let's save him from a murder too.
And this is just coming from my watching television shows about the law, but I believe that would be a reason for an easy appeal. If your lawyer is so bad that they don't even do the most basic thing, which is ask for time for research, right. So even a prosecutor intervening and asking for that is really them still just trying to make sure that you aren't going to be able to overturn the conviction.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
So if you're part of an organization, that organization probably has some kind of links to an attorney, and that's your ends on getting yourself an attorney to represent you. Or you can go to public defender and roll the dice, take your chances. But I would always say people should be part of an organization, because if you are stopped by like a traffic stop, right? Before you stop your car, you should call somebody. Call somebody, say there's an officer behind me. I'm being pulled over at exit so-and-so, on street so-and-so. And I'm calling to let you all know. Okay. Or you say, I'm recording it. So you leave the phone there and you record it,
or
so they can hear what's going on.
There's a lot of very good dash cams out there now.
Right, exactly. So you have to talk to some comrades. Some people say, well, I'm not part of an organization because so-and-so and so-and-so. Look, man, you're part of an organization whether you want to be or not, to be honest. You part of something.
Right.
So control that and be part of what you want to be part of. And call your comrades and tell them before you stop the car now. Don't stop the car and be on the phone. Man, this police officer,
talking while they come up to the window.
Oh, crazy, man. Hold on, officer. I'm about to get off. Yeah, let me go, man. Let me put the phone down, because Krumsky, he's standing here. He want to talk to me. Put it down. What is it, officer? I mean, come on. Don't be smart. Be wise.
Also, if you have the dash cam, then you free yourself up as far as the camera on your phone or whatever else you want to use your phone for.
Right.
If you have that dash cam recording, then you free up your phone. There's also a good reasons to not travel alone. To make sure that you have someone with you, though that's not exactly the same as contacting an outside person, like Bob was talking about, making sure that someone knows where you are and that you've been pulled over, because they could find reasons to try to hassle the person that is traveling with you also. But it's still better than just being by yourself. And I'm sorry. I did have some additional thoughts as far as
someone said B1 family. Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
And any immigrants arriving here do not know any of the United States Constitution and constitutional laws except what is provided through the Immigration and Naturalization Bureau. Absolutely.
Right. And they really have limited, immigrants, I think anyone who basically is stopped by the police has a limited amount of way to exercise these laws that Bob was talking about, as far as not consenting to searches, right to remain silent, and what was the third one?
Right to remain silent and lawyer up.
Right. They have that, but in limited capacity, because think about the leverage that the police have over them, just based on the fact that they're not a citizen. But you're right. They a lot of times are not aware that they have those rights either, because in some other places they don't have those particular rights, or they're not spelled out as just their natural rights as citizens.
When Akin Bola, who taught the workshop with me last week when he moved here from England, I talked to him at length many times about the laws here and things and how they pull stuff. Not much different from how they pull stuff in the UK, by the way, but just let him know certain things because they weren't on.
Right. No, they're not gonna tell you when you come over.
Right, exactly. And on that too, when you come from England to the United States, it's pretty easy to get made a U.S. citizen. It wasn't that difficult for Akinbola. When you come from Africa here, it's different. Because England is Europe.
Right. England is the mother country.
It's the mother country, and it's their fellow whites.
Right.
And so it's not difficult. Even if you black coming from there, it's a white country that's their friend, that's their daddy, really, or mama. And so it's not that difficult. So just know that when you come from a non-white, non-European country, you're going to get a harder time and less information.
Right.
Okay. So let's see here.
I also wanted to say, as far as not consenting to searches, as I mentioned before, there are times when you don't necessarily have control, even over what may have been left in your home, as well as your car. I used to be a Lyft driver, and so I'm still privy to some of the Lyft Uber groups on Facebook, and I cannot tell you how many times people talk about, and they're not talking about being pulled over by the police or anything, but people talk about things being left in their car that they're not aware of, things being left up under the seat. And now the person is calling them the next day or later that day saying, hey, I left, blah, blah, blah package in your car. Can you meet me? I'll give you some money or whatever. Like you may not be thinking about that, but that's another reason why you don't want to just openly consent to any searches of your car or of your property.
We know an former Uber driver who a passenger left a pistol in this car.
Right. You're right.
That's dangerous as hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, hey man, let me meet with you and get my pistol back on the phone. I don't know what you mean.
Right.
Because look, what we do, what we represent, and we all in USPI, Urban Survival and Preparedness Institute, you think we aren't being monitored? Right. And then somebody happens to leave a pistol in your car, right, and then wanting to meet with you to get that pistol back? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm searching the car now. Sure don't see no pistol, sir. Right. You must have left it somewhere else. I don't know what you mean. A pistol, oh my God, I'd have had to report that to the police because I'm a law-abiding citizen. Man, get out of here.
Make sure you say
and imagine he had been driving, got stopped by the police, and then he consents to a search, thinking nothing's in the car.
Right. And
then excuse me, sir, this is a pistol with the serial numbers filed off. Right. Well, what is this?
And you have no idea.
It's not mine. They'll say, sir, you know it's yours, right, sir. Mm-hmm. Like, heck no. So, nope. You don't consent to searches. You don't know. You bought an old car, and that car, the people, were heavy weed smokers, right, or shit, did cocaine, and they left I don't know the actual term. I've heard bump. I don't know if that's in the package or not, or if it's out. But they leave a package of cocaine in your car. Right. And the police, you allowed them to search your car. Right. You didn't know that was under the seat. And they find that, oh, what's this here? Oh. And you're like, God or shit, they setting you up.
Right, exactly. And that's another reason not to consent. We've seen so many videos in the past few years of people actually, since they have these cameras, catching the police trying to plant things in their cars.
Right.
Like if you give them open access, then you're just inviting that type of behavior. In addition to that, if for some reason in your mind you're thinking that not consenting to a search is some sort of admission of guilt in and of itself, think about this. Searches can get messy. They don't think about your property. They don't think about maintaining your property. Exactly. If you consent to let them search and they tear things up or break things, then you've consented to that. So just think about, that's another reason why you don't want to ever consent to a search. Make sure that you are not aggressive, but make sure that you're assertive in not consenting to a search. That includes your body language. You don't want to negate, the fact that you don't want to let them search by just, just being passive with your body language toward it, as though you don't care whether or not they search. You care. You want them to not search. You want to let them know verbally, I do not consent to you searching. Also, think about your phone, because your phone is private. They do not have a right to look through or search your phone. But if they say something like, let me see your phone, and you hand it over to them, you're consenting to them searching your phone. Let me look through your phone. You do not consent to searches. Make sure that you close yourself off and let those things be your default when you're thinking about whenever, because there's a lot of different things that they'll say to you that won't be, hey, let me look through your car. It'll be something kind of something that makes it seem like the severity of whatever they're about to do is less than really what it is. Right. But anything that they say to you that sounds like they're asking you to allow a search, you want to refuse.
I mean, look, we had neighbors had an argument, okay, and the argument had stopped. And somebody had called the doggone police on the folks. The police came. They allowed them to come into their house. Like, right. Look, we have no problems. They let them in the house. And police can't, without a warrant, come in your house, but unless it's under exigent circumstances. They're chasing somebody and they ran your house or whatever. But once you let them in, they're like vampires. Right. Once you invite them in, they in, and they're gonna do whatever in your house. So
that's the best example too.
She let them into the house. We're not arguing anymore. It wasn't that big of a deal. I don't know. We were a little loud, out on the porch, but they weren't even arguing in the house. They were outside the house in the first place. Right. Police go in the house with them. She goes to make coffee. She said, he was like, man, this is some bullshit. He goes upstairs, which he shouldn't have gone downstairs, like just trusting them to be sitting there waiting for some coffee. Right. They're searching. These marks. Now I'm sitting on the porch. These marks come out with her sex toys. Man, look what we found. They got a gang. She got a whole trunk of them in there. Embarrassed this woman. Now, last that I heard, she was trying to sue, but she's not. I don't think. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't think that is suable.
And I mean,
but it's jacked up that they did that.
Right. The least of something that could have happened.
Right. They could have
let them in your house.
They could have planted some or found a gun that you have. Right. And maybe you didn't register it or whatever. And now you're in trouble. You're in cuffs, or they find a joint that somebody left in your house
that you didn't know about.
You didn't know about. It's under the couch. I was sitting with some friends of mine. I didn't smoke. Don't smoke now, right? But they were smoking weed. We were in the backyard, and I don't know why folks thought this was legal.
I just wanted to pull up the new comment.
I don't know why they thought this was legal to do, but they were sitting back there, and weed's not legal in Georgia, but folks smoking. But in the backyard, thinking nobody's gonna be just watching us in the backyard. Next door neighbor was always nosy on stuff, so she watching. Calls police. Police walk over there. One of the dudes, so with the weed, they throw it out into the forest part, right? They go, okay, we're good. This other brother throws, and if you watching, some BS. He throws a goddamn. He got a whole sack of weed and throws it by me. I said, "Oh my god!" Right. So they said, they're talking to us. You guys, were you smoking back here? Oh, no, officer, so and so. And I'm like, man, you smell the weed. He said, what? Smells like it? No, it wasn't us, officer. And I'm like, okay, we good. Maybe he didn't see it. He looks at, oh, what's this? And holds a sack up. I don't know. I'm not giving him nothing. Yeah, you got it in your hand right there, but I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it looks like.
Just don't like weed to you? I don't know what weed looks like. I don't know, sir. I don't know. He said, all right, guys, come on. He's putting everybody in cuffs, but fails to put me in cuffs. I put my hands behind my back like this. And he just walks by. Because they probably scared, too, they back there. Which is why you got to be careful, too. They start shooting. I have my hands behind my back. 2 sisters come out the house. And they're taking pictures. One jumps on the phone. Y'all like to talk to attorney so-and-so. Well, I won't say the attorney. Well, she said attorney Mawuli Davis. She wasn't talking to Mawuli Davis. And it's Mawuli Davis, not Muwali Davis. for some of my comrades on here who've been saying his name wrong. It's Mawuli Davis. I like to talk to Mawuli Davis. And I'm like, she ain't even talking to nobody at his office on the phone. It's nighttime, like 11 at night. And the officers, I said, they screwing up.
And that's the lawyer who, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the officer says, you gonna call a lawyer on us? Children in there, right? Because of course the woman next door didn't told him. He said, but you got drugs out here? Well, yeah, drugs, so it really sound bad. Right. Well, especially since he's being recorded. You got drugs out here? We're gonna take all those children from you. I said, now I'm gonna have to go to work. I'm not letting them take the children. Right. And they don't know that I'm not cuffed. So my wife comes over to me. She said, baby, you all right? I said, baby, I'm not cuffed. So I want you to get the children. All the children in the house, y'all go to the basement and stay in a safe place because I'm about to go to work now. They haven't even searched me. But I'm thinking in my head, my whole life is about to change. Because I'm not going to let them take these babies, and I'm going to war on police. My life in Georgia is done. But that's where I was at. That's where my mind was at. That's where this fool put me at by throwing that sack of weed by me. But the heavens had it where the one person that could save these folks and keep our babies was not cuffed. And my wife and somebody else talked the police down. Okay. And they said, okay, John, we're going to put those phones away. We're not talking to lawyers, right? They're like, no, we're not talking to lawyers. So it's like, all right, well, let's take the cuffs off of them. They're taking the cuffs off of everybody. I stand up and they come over to me. I said, all right, thank you, officer. And he looked like, oh shit, I didn't even put the cuffs on him. Yeah, and you didn't search me either. And that's all I'll say on that. Okay.
That's a good example of the importance of staying calm also.
Right.
And your wife intervening in that instance because she has a very calm demeanor. If you being calm sometimes can calm someone else down.
Right.
So in that instance, it was useful. And I was saying about the attorney that you were talking about, Attorney Davis. Mm-hmm. One of the national stories that I'm sure everyone probably saw, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, was one of the highways here kind of burned or part of the highway collapsed because they tried to say that this brother who, had a drug addiction and who was homeless and living under the bridge had done something to all these incendiary materials that they had under the bridge, which why were they there in the first place? But Attorney Davis is the one who got that brother off and got it so that they were not able to pin that on him. So if anyone, heard of that national story, that would be the significance of someone letting the police know that they were getting in contact with that particular attorney, because that's a name that they're going to know.
And that's Mawuli Davis.
Right.
Okay. And if you look up, that's important. But you look up, get me Mawali Davis, and you're looking him up, you're not going to find Mawali.
Right.
You're going to find Mawuli. So just so you know. All right. Any other questions? Let me see here.
One other thing that while we're looking for the questions, when I was talking about your phone being private, that's even if you're in custody. Your phone, there needs to be a warrant to search your phone, even if you're in custody. So just make sure you're not providing any passwords, you're not swiping for anyone, nothing like that. They do not have the right to look through or search your phone.
Right. Okay, now, Abdul Khalifa says Chicago area out here using spot shotter and false reports like Juicy as probable cause. Let's talk about Juicy Smollett. What's his name? See, that's been said so much. I think it's Jussie Smollett.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Jussie Smollett, right. That's his name. But Juicy, they using him as probable cause to say, okay, well, because Juicy Smollett faked, his assault and all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't need Juicy Smollett. Chicago cold, man. Right. I'm from Chicago, and Chicago's so cold. They made, and so gangster. They made it's against the law to film the police in Chicago. You can film in other places, but not in Chicago. Yeah, the police, wherever you go, ain't none of them like just little lambs. I'm a lamb. I'm a lamb. I'm a little gentle lamb. But the police are not gentle lambs. They're not like me. They're not gentle, kind, peace-loving folks like me. So just know, wherever you at, Chicago is bad. And you got degrees of horrific, but they're all horrific, man. Historically with us.
Yeah, boom.
Okay. Let's see here.
One other thing, and I think Belay mentioned it in the chat. Signing things. Do not sign anything. The only thing that you can be, and I this almost happened to me, is refusing to sign a ticket. It may not be legal or it may not be right, but you can be arrested for refusing to sign a ticket. But other than that, do not sign anything outside of the presence of your attorney. Do not sign anything.
I've refused tickets before and not to sign. Mm-hmm. And that went okay for me, but I don't want to tell you to do that. I have to do more research on that. Right. And that may be by state.
Yeah, I know. In Cobb County, Georgia, at least about 20 years ago, they will. They will arrest you if you refuse to sign your ticket.
Okada said consenting or not consenting is tricky. Not consenting could trigger the officer to get technical and look for other ways.
Make them.
So right, yeah, make them look. Work. But okay, so then it doesn't matter how technical he gets. He cannot get out technical the Fourth Amendment, but we know how these mugs move. So shit, they'll just start doing it to you anyway. Especially when you're talking about rollouts, TAC officers, people like that, Red Dogs that used to be here in Georgia. Still, they just changed the name. Right. When they'll start going through your pockets. they already have violated the Fourth Amendment, but they don't care, and they figure you don't know or you fear. And if yes, then if you say you're violating the Fourth Amendment,
Right.
you're violating my rights, you're probably gonna catch a beat down. Now, also one thing, don't do if you're planning to file a complaint, you get their information, but don't say, what's your badge number? And if they have it hidden, know that you're dealing with somebody, you'll be in trouble anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If they feel like, because if you ask, what's your badge number? They say, oh, this motherfucker about to make a complaint. And they'll do you like they did, oh, we're going to take all the children here, that kind of stuff.
It's not illegal for them not to identify themselves to you.
Right.
That is something that is departmental policy. And many departments do have the, I mean, just based on what I read in preparation for this, a lot of departments have the policy that they should identify themselves to you if you ask. But it's not illegal for them to not identify themselves to you. And you see how much they are not punished for other things that they do far above and beyond not identifying themselves. So just think about how much trouble they'll really be in for you asking for their badge number and them telling you no.
And their name is there, but the way you see, they have those black elastic things that hold their badge, and it covers the number. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's done on purpose, of course. It ain't like it just slipped up there.
Right. It's designed that way.
Right.
Literally.
So yeah, because they know they don't have to give you that. And I've seen videos of people, what's your badge number? What's your name? They asking you.
Right.
You know, it was his youth. And people like, you know, this young fella knows the law. And they put it up on the video. I say, this young fella don't know shit. And he's white. Right. And so he's exercising his white privilege to do that. Mm-hmm. There was a black 15-year-old, he'd be in because his daddy got arrested. He'd be in the car with his daddy.
On the way to the claim.
So if you are planning to file a report, their name is right there. Right. Get his name, memorize it. Don't let them see you writing it down. I tell you something that happened to me too. Memorize that mug and then make your complaint. It was Officer so-and-so and Officer so-and-so. So you get, if you can get two, you know those two officers working together. They're from this precinct or this district.
And you know what time of day and all that. Right. There's going to be a log of what time they were working, what time they were out. So if you get enough of that information, then you don't necessarily have to have the badge number. Right. And in addition to that, along the lines of what Bob was talking about is the, I believe, sort of ego-driven statement at this point when you come up to them and say, I know my rights. You know, you don't need to make that statement to them. Mm-hmm. Show them that you know your rights by asserting your rights. But you don't need to tell them that. Again, you're telegraphing at that point. You're telling them this is the strategy that I'm going to use to deal with you. You don't have to tell them that. Just assert your rights.
You know, there's he was an off-duty cop, but he was working security at this bookstore. Went to the bookstore with a friend of mine. Friend of mine shoplifted and stole some books. I had never been in this store. I'm not going to say I never stole books before. And that's the only thing I ever stole. I was a nerd thief. I stole books because I couldn't afford the books I wanted to read. So I'm not advocating that at all, but this is what I did to be able to read the books I wanted to read. So my friend had stolen the books. And I was like, man, shit, we ain't never been in this store. I don't know. I think they got cameras in here. I'm not doing it. He said, I'm out. So he leaves. And I'm like, well, I ain't leaving out with him. I know he took the week. I'm going to wait a few minutes. So I'm walking towards the door to leave. And in walks this white cop holding him. He said, we were both 15. He said, you follow me downstairs. Now, he dealing with some young boys. Because if I was a grown man, sure, so I'd have moved like this, like I'm walking, broke out. But I follow him downstairs like a fool. And well, as we're going downstairs, he stops at the thing. He said, "Grab that that Dungeons and Dragons book," because that's where my friend was stealing some stuff. It was a module. It wasn't a book. A module was an adventure, but he didn't. The guy didn't know. He said, "Grab that." I know clearly what he said. Grab it. So I grabbed it. He said, "Put it under your coat." Mm-hmm. I said, "I'm not doing that." No, he said, "Put it under your coat, or I'm gonna beat your ass when we go downstairs." I put it under my coat. Oh, so I've incriminated myself. Right. When I was 15, I was a child. See, this is how they do.
They love, yeah.
And so I'm down there, and then he makes us both call our mothers. Well, he makes me call my mother. Jay, they take him to wherever they took him, but they told him, we're gonna make sure you get tried as a man. You can't over a damn book, But Jay was crying from that, I talked to my mother. I would have rather them take me wherever they took Jay. My mother was like, "You're somewhere stealing?" I said, "No, he made me put it under here." He said, "Ma'am, he's lying. He's been in here many times stealing." Mm. When I went home, my mother said, "I didn't believe shit that white man said. But the fact that you there stealing," she said, "you went in there to steal, but you changed your mind. The fact that you even went in there to steal." And she was so pissed in the things she said to me, right? She said, "You talk about, our family members." So I used to be real judgmental. Family members, they get drunk all the time and all. You talk about them, but you're stealing. We don't have thieves in the family. And I'm feeling bad and I'm crying and all this. But it really came from this dude. And so I didn't take the stuff. He said, just leave the stuff here and, get out of here, right? So the stuff was left in the store. They charged my mother $36 restitution. Now this thing was $14 or whatever. I don't know whether 30, probably to buy them some coffee and donuts and shit. $36 restitution. She goes down to the station and pays. Not to like court. I never went to no court or nothing. She pays the cops $36. Which is illegal too.
If the store still had the item,
right?
Why are you paying for it? If that's part of the restitution, you should get to keep it.
Well, what happened? My sister was pissed, so she talked to, and his name is Terry Zablonsky. When I talk about you can remember these officers' names, because that shit was so traumatic to me as a child, I never forgot his name. I was 15, so that was almost 40 years ago. Wow. It'll be 40 years ago next year. So she went up complaining, my older sister complaining. And while he was at the store, he gets the item and says, "Well, we were just holding the item for him. We want to give your mother the item, just didn't have it on us at the station." Gives my sister, with me, he stole it from the store,
right? And
gave it because he sure didn't pay them that money that
definitely,
and gave the module to my sister. My sister gave it to my mother. My mother said, "Here, enjoy it." Threw it to me, And I never opened that goddamn module. That module represented what the police represent to me, and that is monsters that don't care about the people, and they don't care about the law.
Or children.
15-year-old
children.
Right. Because, see, and a black cop probably would have done it to me too, but a white cop doesn't even see me as a child. They're saying a threat.
15-year-old man.
15-year-old man, exactly. That's why he told Jay, "We're going to charge you as a man." Which he didn't get charged with nothing either. But because there was no charge. Well, it's a charge for him. Right. But I don't think, he didn't do no, I'm sure he got charged or something, but no time. He's a child. This is how they do you. So when I saw the child getting taken by the 5 cops, I wasn't surprised. I'd only been surprised with it been a white child, and I'd really been surprised. It ain't never happened that I've ever seen. But I've seen black children, myself and others, get taken by the police. I was walking to the store to get chips, and the police ran over my feet. If I wasn't young, my job probably would have broke, and they were moving so quickly, just right over my foot. Because, and thank God for big feet too, because if they had been closer to me and hit me, I'd have died. It would have shattered my body because they were moving so quickly.
And again, that's what you do when someone's not a person.
Right.
When you're driving and you see a person, you slow down or you veer over a little bit. But when you don't recognize someone's humanity, it's very easy to almost hit them.
And I didn't see them, so they wasn't like going fast, and I'm just hearing the car moving fast. I didn't see these fools. I don't know where they came from, but the Doppler effect, like that, you could hear, them laughing. That's another one of those things where I can tell you what I had on that day because it was so traumatic what they did. And I was so grateful beyond the trauma that I was still alive. Because I knew I was about 8, 9. I knew I would have been dead. Our teacher, Ms. Johnson, would let her exceptional students go to the store. We wouldn't have to go to lunch with everybody else at the cafeteria. We could go to the store, bring our lunch back, eat in her room, talk, chill with her. And that's what I was going to do. Normally went with other people. But I went to get everybody's stuff by myself. And, almost left here. But thank goodness it didn't happen. But this, that's Chicago PD. But it's not just Chicago PD.
Sure isn't.
They everywhere. I wouldn't put it past CPD hiding numbers from stat collections and framing people like 90s and 80s. Yeah, shit, 90s, 80s, 2000s. It's all happening right now. Carbias philosopher, they don't need to search your phone. Companies are already taking our personal information and selling it or giving it to law enforcement. The worst part is you need to sign these agreements. That too.
I can agree with that, but at the same time, there's an immediacy part that you're standing there with the officer. Yes, I guess if at some point if they want to talk to the prosecutor and get a warrant or contact whatever channels they have to those companies, then yeah, they might be able to get the information in your phone. But I'm talking about right there on the spot, on the side of the road.
And make it easy on nobody.
Right. Yeah. You make them work for it. Make them work for it. Don't ever just hand them the evidence against you.
Good afternoon, Latif, aka Colossus Dragon. Marjorie Lemon says violation of the 4th Amendment because of the legalities applied. If you don't know, you're screwed. Where's your warrant, officers? What does the warrant say you're looking for? Cameras ready.
You definitely have a right to read that warrant.
Yes. That's another thing too. They just throw you some paper. They could be goddamn paper they got from
or
anywhere.
Some old warrant
right.
for someone else.
Exactly. So read that bad boy.
Right.
Make sure it's yours. There's a famous case in Phoenix. They went to this house, served a warrant, went in and got into it with the man and the woman of the house, and shootout took place. They killed both of the couple that owned the house. They were in the wrong house. They served the warrant to the wrong house. The people didn't look. They go, I'm not so and so. This isn't our address.
Right.
Right. So I think it was like some crazy 663, but they were at 669 or something off like that. It wasn't even like the number is 669, but it flipped down to 666 or something. It wasn't even that kind of case. They were just off by one number. They got mistaken and took a couple's life.
Just to think about how many officers are involved in something like that, serving a warrant, going to get thinking, and the fact that they all could not be looking at the address carefully, that lets you
Right.
know how fallible they are. So again, that's another reason not to give them anything.
And also, so you know, if they want you bad, if they've gotten it to you, like with the sister, what is her name? She had the son, the little boy got shot.
Yeah, I can't remember.
They send SWAT to your house. SWAT is for high risk warrant. It's high risk warrant service. So if they say you're a high risk, they'll send SWAT to your house to deliver the warrant. Well, SWAT comes to your house to deliver the warrant. SWAT is prepared to take your life straight up. So just know that. Also, when they come to your house nowadays, they'll ask you, and they ask you at the hospital too, do you have any firearms in your house? We start off saying, don't volunteer information. Don't volunteer information. You can does this have
also
anything to do
know
with
the gun laws for your state.
and know you're right. And even then, shit. Atlanta, Georgia has some of the most lax gun laws in the world. Cop pulls up. We call the police about our car being broken in to get the paperwork. First thing he asked me, you got any guns in the house? I said, what does that have to do with this? We called you about the car. But, oh, no, sir, I have no guns. I'm not. You said, well, you lied to the police. Look here, man. I'm not telling a cop that I got guns in my house, and this goes from being calling him about paperwork for our car being broken in to me being put on the ground by the police or them. We need to search your house. No, you don't need to search my house.
Right. And
We ain't getting that far.
You're giving, again, volunteering the information to them to
Right.
allow them to do
Like
that to you.
Like the brother, I have a firearm in the car. He died.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
Tragedy.
You don't tell these folks you have firearms in your house on you or nothing else. Let them work and find it. You asked me, I asked if you have guns on you or any weapons on you, and you said no, but I found a knife. I don't share that a weapon. That's that's my tool for cutting my food. That's my tool when I work. Mm-hmm. Man, get out of here for sculpting.
Boxes.
Yeah, cut boxes. Man, look, you don't tell them, and whatever happens after that happens, but you don't sit and tell these people, get them information like that. I got four knives in my pocket. I got a gun in my bag. If I told them all the shit I walk around with every day, I know I'm gonna have a problem. Hell no. At the hospital, I went to the hospital for a heart attack. Why does the nurse ask me, do you have any firearms in your house? I didn't go for like a mental thing or nothing like that.
Or a bullet wound.
Right, or a bullet wound. You asked me, am I, do you have any firearms in your house? Oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, I have no firearms in my house. What the hell is a nurse asking me that for? So you don't give your information to anywhere. I always tell my wife, don't overshare with folks, even if these are people you know and it makes you feel good or closer. Don't overshare. Don't overshare. Be careful, She'll say, but you tell them on TV that you got several weapons. I said, go through any of our episodes and you'll never be say exactly what weapons I have. I got knives. I teach class so everybody should have a knife. You should have a marker on you. You don't know what else I have with me. My students can kind of figure. They don't know what I have on me unless we go to the range. And then you're seeing all kinds of shit coming out. That's how this works. Don't overshare. Share. Don't overshare. And don't share shit with the police except your name. That's it.
And the things that you are required
to share. By law.
Right.
That's it. Other than that, they can talk to your attorney.
One other thing, belay, and if I'm sure most of you probably have watched the show before, so you're aware of our co-host, Bile Ogunbile. He is Raquel E in the chat, and he's been sharing a lot of valuable information about ways to interact with police, ways to withdraw your signature from documents, and all kinds of other things that will be very valuable. We haven't been reading them throughout our presentation, but please go back in the chat and read through all of the information that Raquel E has been sharing, because that's also extremely valuable. And he's co-hosting from far away because he's working right now. But thank you, Belay.
He's Belay's Ice Cold Carter and action, all kinds of other stuff. So, so he's doing this acting thing right now. Mm-hmm. Let's see it. Got time for one more question. I think in Atlanta period, they can arrest you for not signing a ticket. That was Amosun. You see Flux Wonder Bat, that's Amosun. Right. He's a rapper as well as a master artist.
He's Amosun.
What's legal and what they get away with can be two different things. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. But you have to work from something, Right. I mean, everything we're talking about is not necessarily legal, but you have to find something to work from. Obviously, these the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, those are not necessarily things that always apply to us, and they're not always fairly applied to everyone. But there's still no reason for you not to know about it and for you to try to use that as a base when it's appropriate and when you're able to, and move from another base when you're not able to move from that.
Right. Marjorie Lemon said, I've had SWAT to my house and they looked at me like I was crazy when I yelled, put those damn guns down and show me your warrant. They looked like, damn. And I was recording them so my family could see. Yeah, I mean, I would say be a little cooler and be ready to do whatever. But yes, telling them show you the warrant, absolutely. You demand the warrant. Oh, when they come to your house, if you got like that chain thing, you can open your door and just a chain. You don't have to take that chain off. You say, "Can I help you?" And they're talking to you. Can we come in and speak to you? No. Do you have a warrant? Even they're not showing the guns. You have a warrant? No. We just need to speak to you. Okay, well, hold on. You come outside and you can talk to them.
Close the door behind you.
Right, close it behind you. So they're looking in your house, putting their foot there, keeping it open, walking in, nothing. Close the door behind you. Can I help you?
If they want to talk to someone else in the house, call that person outside.
Right.
And close the door behind them.
Unless they're a minor. You that's your decision. If they say we want to talk to Johnny. Johnny's 6. What do you need to talk to Johnny for? Well, this is between us and Johnny. Hell no. Johnny's 6. Or Johnny's 16. He's still a minor. No. I'm his father. What is it? They had to detain my son at Marta. And Belay's on it. He went with me. I said, God, they snatched my son up. What is this? Let me go handle it. So I go down there and I say, okay, what's the issue? Now I'm armed. I'm sure Belay was too. But I say, well, Belay, we talk. I'm gonna try to talk sense with them first. And then we strategize, and I won't go into the strategy. So we walk in. I'm seeing my son standing there, dude sitting down. I can look and see the dude he with is an adult but young, 18, 19. My son at the time was like 16, 17. So I say, what's going on, officers? And they say, this your father? He said, yeah, that's my dad. I said, what's happened? He said, well, your son was at the MARTA station, and we were. Now he was clowning. He was clowning because he said, we were searching. His friend went through the thing. Said your son went through the turnstile. I said my son has a car, motor car. He said yeah. He said then he handed his car back to his boy. And his boy came through. I said, where's his boy? He said, we let him leave. I said, well, why can't because he's a minor. I said, my son's a minor. He said, well, we told him, he said, we're talking to him, the one sitting down, who's an adult. And he was like, man, that's my boy. You ain't got to put your hands on my boy. My son's doing that to the cop. And the cop said, look, stand away from us. He said, well, what you mean? He said, stand away from us. 6 feet. My son stepped like 6 inches. He said 6 feet. He said, well, I can't tell the difference between feet and inches. So they put my son in cuffs too.
Which you would only say if you definitely could tell the difference between feet and inches.
Right. So my son was being
Right,
smart
exactly.
with them, and he's been pissed. And he was pissed that his friend was being messed with, and he has a strong protective energy about him, right? So, and that's good. One of my students has said, well, he gets it from you. Yes, but he's young, and so I'm working on when to use it.
Right.
You don't use it all the time now, or when to use it. So, or how to use it. So that's why I said he did what? And so I was kind of laughing that, he took the steps over. I said, Lord, son. I said, all right, I got him. I'll deal with him. You'll never have a problem with him anymore. And they're like, all right, because, some cops, they not like us. They could have killed you. I said, well, then that would have been a problem. If I came down here and my son was killed, that would have been a whole nother problem. We don't want those kind of problems. Just like that. Mm-hmm. And they say, oh, yes, sir. And they looking like, motherfucker must be crazy talking to us like that. I'm like, no, you would have suffered if my son had been harmed at all. So I got my son, and I said, son, goddamn, don't do that no more, And he was like, it's just, that's my boy, so-and-so, so-and-so. I said, I come down there talking to these cops, your boy, and they talking about what you did, your boy over there laughing. But you taking this shit really seriously.
Right. His friend might have also been more used to dealing with the police.
Probably. I said, son, don't do that no more. All of y'all could have left, and maybe your boy too, if you hadn't have pissed him off. Right. So don't play with these police. Don't play these little funny games of semantics with the police. They're not people to play with. They're not your friends, so don't play with them.
Right. Definitely.
They're your enemy.
Absolutely.
And so you handle them as such. Let me move wise as the serpent when dealing with these bastards.
Absolutely.
And don't listen to them talking about if it had been other white cops, they'd have done this and that. Black cops, white cops, they are agents of the state, and they are your enemy. They're not your friend. So be safe. For those who are listening, who are police, and I've said that several times that we talk about police, because police are heavily into martial arts. Police have been to the school in uniform. And, I made them uncomfortable, and the other students made them, and they left. But there are police who there was a police officer who came to the school who didn't know he's police. I'm not asking you to come in. Are you police? He had been training with us for months. And then he made the mistake of saying to me, I guess he was off for whatever reason. He said, I can't wait to get back to work. Well, maybe he wasn't off that long. I don't know. I said, what do you mean? He said, to use these techniques. I said, excuse me? It was just me and him. He came early. And I would always end up pairing him up with, it's a sister, Jamazo. She's like 5'1", small. And she would put it on him. She was choking him out and stuff like that. And I was like, what does he work? He feels bad about Jamazo beating him, so he going, where you going? I hope he don't work at the school or something with some chip. He said, I work at the jail. I said, what you mean? You work like what do you mean, like secretary or something? He said, no, I'm one of the officers at the jail. I said, and you want to get back to use this, what I'm teaching you on them? I said, get your shit and get out of my school. He, what? I said, get your shit, get out of my school. And I'm not going to say it again. He packed his stuff. He was leaving. He looked back, really? I said, am I playing with you? Get out of here. As he's walking out, I can both walking in. He's like, hey, brother, how you doing? You know, the guy just walks out. I can both like, well, what happened? I said, man, that's the goddamn police. Admitted it. Now, you admitted it to me. Don't be mad when I act on what how I'm supposed to act. Right. Don't be mad when I kick your ass out of my school because our people have suffered too much from you. And definitely you telling me that you can't wait to use this on our people. Oh. You out of here. Okay. And I don't care what your title is. You out of here because now you're in my property and I don't care what your title is. Right. You're going to leave. I don't care if you suited and booted. You're going to leave. If I'm telling you to leave, if you have come into that under false pretenses. Right. Because I'm not going to be false with you. I'm going to be real when I put you out of my school. So that's just a message to my police viewers.
Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to read something that you kind of said that I definitely agree with. When we teach ourselves and our children about our rights and give advice, we should always include the fact that freeing ourselves from white supremacy or whatever you call it is our ultimate goal and the best solution. Absolutely. One thing that we said at the beginning was that, you know, we acknowledge that all of these things aren't necessarily, they're not going to always respect our rights. But this is a conversation that we need to have. But yes, of course, ultimately we know that we need to free ourselves. But while we are still dealing with this particular system and these particular agents of the system, we also need to have this discussion.
And because we're dealing with white supremacy, this is why we're talking about moving how we move.
Yep.
Moving wise, and we need people alive to fight beside us when we fight white supremacy. And so I want you to stay alive for the fight and stay alive for the freedom and the life you live on your own and with your families. But be wise in how you move. Get home.
Absolutely.
And even when I talk about putting the cop out, that is so we can stay alive. I can't have you among us endangering us. Mm-hmm. By the way you think, the way you train, all of that. And for those who say, well, I'm going to go into the police and learn what they learn from within so I can teach our people, that may have been viable many years ago. Spook who sat by the door. It's not viable now. You can learn these things other ways. You don't have to become police. But also, most people who do that, the mask becomes the face. They become the very thing that they're talking about, learning from and teaching their people. They end up spying on their people or thinking they other than their people. They end up being police, living as that, thinking as that. Okay. When during the time of when Mike Brown was murdered in Missouri, there's this person who's a former student of mine, became a cop in Chicago, and he argued with another brother that I went to high school with, talking about now this dude who was arguing, saying he was saying Mike Brown, you know, was a criminal, he shouldn't have done what he did, and he'd be alive and all this shit. This dude used to be very, very revolutionary, maybe an anarchist, we thought. And he became a police to get within, and not think he's going to change the system, but he's going to learn how they move and get hold of the leads computers so he could get information, see what they watching us, and all this stuff. And, you know, that was his plan. And he became a person talking about Mike Brown got what he deserved.
They mix you up. They turn you around. They have a system to integrate you into them.
Yeah.
So it's not as though they're just taking you off the street and a month later, now you're a police officer. They grind you
For
up.
months. And they're
They
skilled.
remake you.
They're skilled at mental manipulation.
Right.
They've been doing this for a long time and training cops for a long time
Right.
to defend this state. And so others, you think others haven't snuck within that, trying to do that? Of course they have, but they leave there different.
Right.
I know a cop right now. He wasn't a cop when I met him, that several of my students know. He became a cop thinking that, and I told him, I said, well, if you do that, we have to remove our relationship with you. We can't be related with you, you know. And if you're gonna do the good that you say you're gonna do, that's good. But know that I don't have faith in that. He said, well, I'm gonna keep up with you and you know, keep telling you what's going on step by step. I heard one time from this dude, ain't heard from him since. Now we run into him on the street. He's another police. He's not somebody I just was a former student, was cool with all of us. You don't even know who it is. A lot of people don't know who it is because I didn't say nothing, because I want to see how this is going to shake out. But people have mentioned, I haven't heard from so-and-so in so long. Yeah.
You got a new group.
You got a new group and a new life and a new
Socially
friends
adapted
and
to
a new
something
mind.
else now.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
So this guy is dangerous, you know, but luckily he don't know none of our secrets. You know, luckily he wasn't in USPI. People who come through here and I want to be in USPI. Yeah, okay, well, I talk with you about it. That talk usually don't never come. Because to be in USPI, you gotta trust you. They're EO, that's the martial arts aspect. You can do that. USPI is a different aspect. It's about survival. So there are things like you don't see me on here holding firearms and all that. You know, some of my comrades who they have websites where they do firearms. Oh, that looks nice and that's cool. It hit a little steroids. They look muscular while they holding their firearm. That's nice. You're not gonna get me doing that. All you got to go to the range with me, and then you can see some real shooting, some real running and gunning, and you can get some real training in that. But you're not going to see me doing that online. I could probably make a shitload of money doing that, but I don't care about that. No way in the world are you going to see me. Because unlike some people, I truly am not fucking around. Some people say I'm truly not fucking around. So you're not going to see me in that mode. And then you can throw different things on me and say I'm such and such, such and such. And next thing, they write news articles about me saying I was popping at the police or some crazy, or at the FBI or some shit. No. So move like you move. You know, some are you scared? No. I'm smart. I'm a word for real. Like I said, I'm not fucking around. So I'm not going to do things out of emotion or because it looks good to you,
Right.
because it looks cool to you. I am born to teach my people how to survive. Find me, let's get together and we work. But I'm not going to make a public spectacle of what we have to do to survive. The most you're going to get is what we do here as far as technique and stuff like that. If you want to learn firearms and things of that nature, you got to get with me so we can be face to face, private. If you want to learn how to use other tools besides knives, bats, things like that, other tools besides pistols and rifles, shotguns, you got to get with us for that. Okay.
And El Manifesto asked about USPI. It stands for the Urban Survival Preparedness Institute. Again, that's something that we there's a private aspect to that, but there's also a book that Baba has that is available on Amazon.
Yes.
You know, if you are interested in urban survival.
That's
and
the urban self-defense manual.
right. So if you're interested in urban self-defense, then you can purchase that book on Amazon, El Manifesto, and anyone else who is interested in that. Because if you live in a city, it's good to know how to survive in the woods, but more than likely, if there is some sort of survival scenario, you're going to want to be able to survive in your actual environment that you're used to being in. You're probably not going to go pick up and go out into the woods.
And if people are telling you, just move to the to the rural environment, they're just telling you to pick up and move. Were they millionaires or I had some people tell me just sell your house and get a yurt and live in the forest. Sell my house and get a yurt. Me and my wife were crying when we left the presence of that person, like crying, laughing. Like, are you for real? Get out of here, man. So, cause when they go down, okay, well, sell your house first. Cause he live in the city. Sell your house first and move into a yurt. I'm still not gonna do it, but I send me some pictures of how you survive out there. But so I'm trained on how to survive out in the forest, but our people in the woodlands, in the desert, most of our people live in the city.
Right. And the thing about it is, and I live out in a more rural-ish suburban area. When you live out there, you are surrounded by your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You are surrounded. You constantly have to think of how, if something happens, how can I get out of here? Like, that's what you have to think about. Most of our people, when they move out into these suburban scenarios, are thinking that they'll be safer. You might not be subject to a lot of petty crime living out there, but ultimately your safety may involve something else.
And even if it's suburban, it could be urban survival could apply more than rural survival.
Right, because you're in your home.
Right. Shit. Well, you live in an apartment.
True. Yeah, of course.
So urban survival, we say is every day. Rural survival, they concentrate on when the shit hits the fan.
Right.
Our concentration is on surviving every day, whether shit hits the fan, whether it hits the toilet, where it's supposed to go. We know how to survive, and we know things could go haywire at any time. So we have to be prepared for that. Okay. So that's what we deal with that. But we don't just, we're not going to have a show where we'll deal with some of the survival aspects, but a lot of the things, setting traps and stuff like that, we're not going to do on here. Because we do remember that this is public And so there are police watching, the FBI. I mean, they may just be scrolling through and just happen to see it. So just be careful if whatever you do, what you post, all of that. Don't be out there posting pictures of you with guns, because people are taking notes and notice.
And you never know who it is.
Right. So. Don't be out there doing that. You know, if you're making rap videos, y'all got guns and all that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Family members, you know, some of my family members making posting their Facebook post. I think they take you down now if you do it, but they with guns on the table and all that. That's not cool. That don't make you cool because you got guns. Everybody got guns in Atlanta. They don't make you cool. And can you even use them? Okay. So thank you all for your time. Go back through this because, like Ominiki said, there are things in the chat. They've given some great information. I pray that we have given you useful information. And, you know, watch it over, pause, take some notes, things of that nature. And then not just have the notes, but make those notes intrinsic to you. Okay. We thank you for your time. Be careful out here. Stay black, whatever it is that you may be. Love y'all. Peace.
Thank you, family. Peace.